Next question. Could you give a cheat code for the softest and most conflict-free way to exit a marriage?
A vampire talking about vampires. Damn it, guys.
A cheat code for the softest and most conflict-free exit?
There is always conflict when we move into growth, conflict when we go to school, conflict when we go to university, conflict when we go to get a job. Conflict is growth. It's the thrill of overcoming and changing. Conflict when you sell a car and buy a new one. Conflict when you move into a new home, buy furniture, a new TV. That's conflict, and you're supposed to enjoy conflict. And this fake tolerance has already settled somewhere deep in your subconscious. Let's make it so I don't go to the gym, but I look like Schwarzenegger, and so I don't strain myself, don't even get out of bed, but become a world champion in bodybuilding. That's the same theme. I want to be nobody, a corpse, but at the same time, the liveliest of the living. Guys, the cheat code is this. Put on your Nike sneakers, take a run, and smash into a wall so you finally stop acting like irresponsible idiots. Because you destroyed this family, and now you want no fights, so no one thinks anything bad. I won't say anything, I won't suggest anything, I won't express any dissatisfaction. The family fell apart, and now I want to leave so that nobody even notices. That is real betrayal.
So what should you do then? Start a scandal?
Sincere conversations, honest telling of how it really is, and understanding that I am definitely an asshole, depending on who is trying to do this without conflict. And the blame for us breaking up, for not making it, is 50-50. I'm damn guilty, but we both chose false behavior that led to total misunderstanding and separation.
So openness.
Sincerity even in these things, real honesty when we state what didn't work and why, and admit that I should have said this a long time ago, and now I'm just trying to run away irresponsibly. And at the same time, I want to do it, let's say, so softly that nobody even notices. Meaning I want to continue being irresponsible after that. Take responsibility for your actions and for what is happening. Learn to fire people by telling them directly, and learn to break up by saying directly why this is happening. Maybe you'll save a person because later they'll know where they screwed up and won't keep adapting, enduring, or being afraid in new relationships.
Or you'll find out where you screwed up. 7th question. About homosexuality, it's clear, but there's no information anywhere about why lesbianism appears. Could you explain, please?
Go ahead, you tell it.
We've talked about this. We just don't recall it every time. In fact, for women, it's much simpler with this. For women, it's the opposite story. It's a biochemically proven process. If homosexuality is a one-way topic, once you cross over, that's it? There's not even bisexuality in this matter? Well, it exists, of course, but it's just a borderline state. Then for women, it's simply fear of men, claims against men. Usually there were traumatic stories with fathers. The mother hated the father or was cold toward him. In general, it's a fully workable story that can turn into heterosexual relationships. Our neighbors who were...
We won't give examples.
Yes, right.
We'll just say that there is solid knowledge of cases when people changed themselves and...
For women, it's reversible.
Nicole once said that it's an optimization of processes.
It wasn't Nicole who said it. Anthropologists did. They said that earlier, when people lived in communities, it was an optimization of natural processes. When a man went after a mammoth and didn't return, then, accordingly, women raised the children together, survived together, and somehow that's how it formed for women. Women, in principle, are more open. So for them...
We'll answer this question in more depth. Women should not feel jealousy toward other women because they are united in the matrix. And so when we speak about a woman, we speak of her as a single organism, as a unified state. Men are all individual, and this is a very important point. Each of them has very limited, rigid programs that they need to realize. But women have multimedia processes, and if they have claims against other women, those are claims against themselves and a destruction of the matrix, and that is extremely bad.
In general, we once looked at this. A woman should have, I think, at least 3 girlfriends. Not in the sense of distortions when there are only girlfriends and problems with men, but pleasant communication and relationships. That is, if a woman has no girlfriends, it says that her feminine energy is blocked. or not flowing properly. Let's move on. Here's a personal question. I am in a relationship with a man that has no prospects for a shared future. Maybe we have an agreement to help each other and move into wholeness. Or am I just fooling myself and should end it as soon as possible? With him, I learned to trust, to be open to his energies, to experience a shared orgasm naturally. I don't know whether you'll answer personally in this context or in general.
We'll speak very specifically, because when there is such information, 80% of it is lies, complete lies.
In which part?
At the beginning.
At the beginning it says, I am in a relationship with a man that has no prospects for a shared future. So there is a prospect?
Look at the situation.
In which part?
Everything here is said like this. I feel that I am being destroyed. I feel that we are lying to each other. I feel that we are in a shitty state, but at the same time, I'm grateful for the shit that I got. And then come compliments that are false. I got negative experience, and even though we know how to trust each other, we trust in a toxic way. That is toxic trust. Trust leads to an increase of energy, kindness, deep sensing, and the development of new interests, new levels, and interaction in a completely new quality, where you fall in love with a person because he has already let go of the past by fully living the present, with pleasure, honesty, and presence. The old is the present lived here and now in pleasure, if it's a man, or in embodied aliveness, if it's a woman, and a transition into new qualities. That means a completely different person next to you, who is even more interesting to you, even more pleasant, and even deeper in embodied aliveness. And if this leads nowhere, it means there was solid lying there, adapting, and there wasn't even a trace of honest conversation, but there was brilliant manipulation and talk about things that didn't resonate and didn't give energy. And this is a clear example of emotionally synthetic relationships that lead to nowhere. There was no openness, no honesty, there was correctness, and all the time there were insincere words that sounded as if they were sincere. And in such relationships, of course, you will feel nauseous.
Next, the 9th question. What do situations mean when teenagers decide to be gay, lesbian, or transgender? Can parents still do something to return children to their biological sex?
First, it's society, which puts a lot of pressure.
So,
That's the first, society.
that's what's fashionable, right?
No, it's information that gets uploaded from childhood and creates a precedent. The second point is the most important. Society is the result of insincere, false values in a man and a woman whose child becomes gay, lesbian, or transgender. When there is correctness, when there is insincerity, when there is deception, when there is the creation of illusions and manipulation, there are no true energies there. And then there is an attempt to balance the situation because the child was raised in false values. If mom and dad live in embodied aliveness with each other, there is respect, there is love, there is realness. Children cannot become different. They will be heterosexual.
Can anything still be done?
First, repentance for judging others. You know, there are esoteric types who live with frigid women whose sexuality is blocked, and then they preach that good comes through bad, and that one should endure. And this very moment of judging others for their sexuality led to children becoming gay. Don't you dare judge the sexuality of those who allowed it for themselves while you forbade it for yourselves because you chose false values.
I can say that I've seen exactly these programs passed down from parents. For example, a woman forbade herself to be a lesbian and lived with a man who didn't suit her, and the daughter went and exposed this ancestral secret.
Because the mother suppressed it and passed it on to her daughter in a multiplied form. If she had been sincere, if she had admitted it, if she had acted the way she truly felt, who knows? Everything might have been different.
So now, as you see it, what is the most effective thing? To whom should one confess?
To the mother. The mother had a mad hatred toward those who allowed themselves to express sexuality. And that's it. She shut down the child's sexuality. And as a result, the child can only have something with men. Because she hated sexual women. Because she forbade herself to be sexual. That's it. This is 101% the mother's issue.
Next question. Please tell us, is there a cheat code for successful conception of a child? Yes, lots of sex, pleasure, and not thinking about conceiving a child in that moment.
Now I'll tell everyone that I'm joking, but the joke is very harsh, because otherwise it almost never gets through to you. The moment you desperately want a child, you're acting from lack, not from love. At that moment, you are the biggest vampires and scoundrels, striving to kill the very life that could be. You have no right to want children. You have the right to live in embodied aliveness with the person you love, making love, living together, caring for each other, and at the same time knowing that God will give you a child when it should come to you. If you want it to appear, it means you lack kindness and tenderness. So what do people do in that case? The simplest thing, get a puppy. The simplest thing, go to an orphanage, help, care for, and work with children there. And this will lead to an increase in your capacity for kindness and acceptance. You'll move from the head into the heart and become receptive, and the child will appear in the best possible way. The worst thing is to do artificial conception. This is a violation of all divine laws, and the payback will be the same. When someone says, "We need children," well, you are just vampires who want to destroy someone. Children are born from the surplus love of their parents, and let it be so.
Next question. Can it be that by program a woman needs to pass energy from a certain number of men?
Once again, we say that the ways of the Lord are inscrutable. So here the question is, what aftertaste she has, that's all. If she blossoms, becomes happier, feels the value of life, becomes more beautiful, kinder, gentler, and more realized, that is her choice.
And most importantly, more benevolent toward each of her certain men.
Yes, and here a very important point is that she needs to accept everyone as they are, with their pros and cons, both women and men. And then the question of how many men she had is secondary. What's primary is her inner state and the aftertaste. That's all.
12th question. What is the difference between pleasure and embodied aliveness? During the stream, I realized that I follow the recommendation for men. I get pleasure from everything, but embodied aliveness is something unknown to me at the level of the head, at the level of sensations, emptiness.
I already gave the definition. Pleasure is what you do here and now, fully immersing yourself in the process, observing the sensations in the moment. What is embodied aliveness? It's a feminine concept, because for women it is letting large flows of energy pass through themselves. Figuratively speaking, it's a pre-orgasmic state. It's when she flips through magazines, listens to music, is at spa treatments, in the theater doing some activity. That is, she's in embodied aliveness. She has a state where endorphins are released, just like in the moment when she makes love. That's it.
I can say that the state of embodied aliveness is felt very vividly, like a state of anticipation of something unknown. Okay, next question, 13th. Even as a child, I felt that I didn't want children at all. Now I'm already an adult woman, but I still don't want children. Is something wrong with me, or is this my program?
Something is wrong. There is no love, and you correctly feel that children always require a large reserve of energy, and there are women who give birth to 10 children. It happens quickly for them, and so to speak, without much strain, because they give birth as a function to nobody. This is the birth of nobody. Most often these children are called nobody, and if some genius is born there, that's a program glitch in the form of some soul entering in the process, and it's narrow-focused and, as a rule, unhappy. Well, maybe some kind of genius. Let's go back. When intellectual women, and under that intellect there is not enough kindness and tenderness, because there are many claims, aggression, rigidity, division into black and white, then the lack of energy leads to not wanting children. In general, one shouldn't want children. There should be a state where we love children, whether our own or others. We live in embodied aliveness and melt from them simply because they exist. And at the same time, when you make love with the person you love, you understand that you may have a child or may not have one. You're just feeling great. But if it happens, you have a lot of energy to raise that child. But when there is no love and kindness, and there is a lot of judgment, correctness, and rigidity, then you don't want children because there is no love for a child to be born. And that's natural. It's just a clear reading of how things really are. What needs to be done? Work on having less judgment and claims so that there is more kindness and the ability to be touched by the world, to experience embodied aliveness in what you do, and to remove evaluativeness.